When it comes to squats, it can be confusing on which exercise is better. So let's talk about doing dumbbell squats first. And we got pros and cons for each of these. So dumbbell squats, incredibly easy to learn. All you got to do is just bring those dumbbells up to your shoulders, start squatting. Boom. It's much less of a complex movement. So if you're somebody who's a beginner, this might be a really good starting place to kind of build up that squatting movement pattern and not really focus too much about, if I have something on my back and move this way, blah, blah. Don't even have to worry about it. Just bring them up to your shoulders, start squatting away. Boom, you're good. Dumbbells are easily accessible. A lot of people might even have like 1 to 2 sets already, making it a really home gym friendly option if you're doing workouts from home, because a lot of people don't have the space to get a barbell and load a bunch of weight. So easily accessible, and especially at the gym too, there's always dumbbells open, right? Always dumbbells you can grab, but sometimes there isn't a barbell and isn't a squat rack for you to grab. Those are usually coveted in high traffic places. The issues with doing dumbbell squats, though, is that it's kind of an awkward movement. Bringing those dumbbells up to your shoulders is not comfortable at all. It's going to make them, if you've never done them, just do some dumbbell squats, bring them up to your shoulders. You could even just do 1 if you can't handle 2, and start squatting. It's really awkward. It's kind of hard on the shoulders. Especially if you have certain types of dumbbells that are like all metal. Those can press against your shoulders and not feel comfortable either. You can't load this very heavy, so obviously you can put a bunch of weight on a barbell, but when you're talking about a dumbbell, you can only lift up so much weight to your shoulders and hold it on there and do the exercise. So it makes it much more difficult to load it heavier and hence progress. Dumbbells can get expensive too if you don't have adjustable ones. So I have adjustable ones in my home gym that I can do like 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, etc., and it kind of clips in and out. They're really handy for home gyms. But if you're somebody who's trying to buy some of these separate and you don't want adjustable ones, they can get really expensive. A set of dumbbells, just one dumbbell even, might be going over 1 pound for a pound of weight. So let's say like a 20 pound dumbbell, just one, that could be $50, honestly. And a lot of people don't have a lot of huge disposable income, so that could be an issue. And the exercise is highly limited by your shoulders being able to handle that load up top versus your actual legs giving out typically. So those are some issues. They're great for beginners as a good starting plate. But if you get kind of more advanced and want to build more strength and muscle, the barbell could be a very useful way to do that. So the pros. And by far one of the most important pros of the barbell is that you can overload it basically to infinity. So you could lift with just the barbell, that's 45 pounds. But if that becomes easy, you can add a little bit more weight, right? You can add 10 pounds on each side. That's going to increase your strength a little more. You can add a little bit more weight, a little bit more weight. Ultimately, literally to infinity. People who do strongman competitions, I've seen them load 1,000 pounds on a barbell. I will never get to that. And maybe you will, and if you think you will, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to know. Actually, if anyone's watching this who's ever lifted that much, let me know down below. Long story short though, you can overload it greatly, so there's infinite potential of you getting stronger with the barbell. It's widely used in many programs, so if you have started a new program from maybe bodybuilding.com or another reputable source, you might have noticed back squats are in the actual program. So once you know how to do these and get proper coaching with them, they can greatly give you more of an advantage because you can do more programs and you're just a little more experienced in your overall general movement patterns. The barbell back squat also loads your posterior chain a little bit better. So those dumbbell front squats, or dumbbell front squats, I should call them. So they're just dumbbell squats. They target your glutes and your lower back a little bit, but not as much as doing a barbell back squat. So it's going to challenge your glutes, your hamstrings, and your lower back a little bit more, which can improve overall strength and muscle mass of those specific exercises, okay? So those are greatly useful for all types of sports, all types of physical activities we do, and just a good way to overload that posterior chain. Some of the cons though, highly technical. So if you're somebody who's just starting out, you would likely want to get some coaching on your back squats before actually doing something like this long term, right? Because there's a lot that could go wrong. Once you get the hang of it though, it's pretty easy, and the more squats you do, the more you build that movement pattern. But when you're first starting out, it's highly technical, and there's a lot of things you mess up on. When I was first learning squats, I messed up so much. I was not good at it at all. Still not a pro by any means, but I can definitely squat pretty well and have a decent movement pattern. It also needs more equipment and space. So if you're creating that home gym, this might be a consideration. If you're going to a normal gym, this might be a consideration, because maybe you just kind of want to be in your own little corner and you don't want to go be in the center of the gym with that big barbell. You might just take some of the dumbbells and do some of those dumbbell squats in the corner. That might be your game for the day. And then also barbell squats can kind of increase ego lifting. So since you're able to load this to infinity, sometimes people will feel the need to load it to infinity and lift a lot more weight than they can actually do. So some people will go on and say, maybe they can lift 225 on the back squat, but they can't do it for full range of motion squats. And that makes them feel less of a person for whatever reason. So they said, you know what? I don't want to be that. I'm going to lift 4 plates on each side, or 405 total pounds. And I'm going to do half squats because that makes me feel better. That may sound silly, but that happens all the time. And the ego lifting from doing barbell squats is a real thing, just to realize. So for beginners, what I would recommend is learn the basics of back squatting. Learn how to squat with a barbell on your back, getting proper form coaching and technique. Just do the bar for a lot of repetitions. Maybe you could do some really lightweight if you're feeling good. But overall, you want to add in volume and reps at the beginning with those dumbbell squats until you get to the point where you are very confident with your back squatting and feel like you're ultimately good to go. So learning back squatting basics, adding in extra volume to get more muscle and strength with those dumbbell squats. That'd probably be a good place to start. And then over time, you can just use the dumbbell squats as a fun exercise, and then stick mainly with those back squats.